Everyone, this is Michael Vash 7886 and you're watching Gamers Arcadia Show Episode 2. And today we have a review of the Roxio Game Capture, we have a discussion on the cancellation of Mega Man games, and we have a review of Dungeon Siege 3. So I hope you guys enjoy. The Roxio Game Capture is a capture card specifically targeted at gamers. It'll allow you to capture video in up to 480p. As you can see, the device is very small, however it's also sturdy. I've never thought it felt cheap or flimsy or anything like that. The suggested retail price is $99.99, but you can probably find it for around $85 if you check around. I've seen similar devices that only record in standard definition, meaning 480i, go for at least $50. As you can see, the front has component and audio ports. You can simply plug your console directly into these. You can use the component ports in the back to pass the signal through to your TV with the included cable, and of course the USB port to plug into your computer. For those unfamiliar with capture cards, this is actually a really nice feature. Having a pass-through in the back really makes it a lot easier to capture, because when you're capturing on your computer, oftentimes the video lags, so it's really difficult to play a game that's running a second or a half second or whatever behind. Without this pass-through, you'd probably need a splitter, and generally that hurts video quality, and it's just a hassle. The nice thing here, even more so though, is the pass-through doesn't require any power, so you don't have to have it plugged into the USB for the pass-through to actually work. Meaning, depending on your setup, you could have this that way set up all the time. All you'd need to do is, plug the USB port into your computer, and you'd be good to go. While the capture card does pass signal through at 720p to the TV, it'll only capture that video at 480p. My other card will capture at 720p, but it costs twice as much, and it's more of a hassle, and it's just a lot bigger. If I didn't already have that card, I would probably be using the Roxio Game Capture full-time. You'll be seeing some of the video I captured to test this product out. And make note, it does have a border around it because the frame is set in 720p for this entire video. So I'm going to post it separately as well if you want to take a look at it by itself. And it'll be, with no borders around it. But quality is pretty good. The included video editing software is another strong point for the Roxio Game Capture. It gives you access to some really nice effects, and it's a definite step up from something like Windows Movie Maker. It should be able to handle most, if not all, of your video editing needs. The only downside is there's not very much documentation. It could be a bit overwhelming for those just getting started with video editing. Ultimately, for around $100, you're getting a good quality capture card and some nice editing software to go along with it. I've seen cards similarly priced, and I haven't really cared for their editing software most of the time, and the quality has been okay, but ultimately the 480p makes a nice difference. The Game Capture does include the cables you need to go from the Game Capture itself to your TV, so all you have to buy is the component cable for the console itself. I really recommend you guys check this out if you're interested in recording your gameplay footage. The only, caveat there is if you want 720p for some reason, and you're going to spend a lot more for that, believe me. But beyond that, I really cannot find anything to argue with this thing about. It's really solid video. Really easy editing software, or useful editing software rather, and it's very simple to set up. So if I had to give this thing a grade, I'd have to go with an A. That one little thing does hold it back from an A+, but at the same time, for the price, I can easily see why that's the case. So up next will be our Mega Man discussion. Alright, this week, our discussion, we've added another member of the staff. Noodles is here to chat with us.
What's up?
And Roto is back as well.
That's right.
And this week, we got a viewer mail in, but it's just too much to really talk about in this 5-minute span that we try to keep to. And so if you want to hear some Wii U conversation, check out the podcast. But with that, we're going to talk about Mega Man Legends 3 cancellation and just kind of Mega Man in general. He's had 2 games canceled in the past few months, counting this one. So what are your initial thoughts, Noodles?
I think it sucks. The last time we had a Mega Man game. I believe it was Mega Man 10.
Yes.
Yeah, which was great. I mean, I didn't find it as good as 9, but I think it was still a great game. And I was really excited for a new Mega Man Legends. We haven't had Mega Man Legends since the second game, which was a really long time ago. I don't even think the PlayStation 2 was out yet.
No, it was on PS1.
Yeah, exactly. So I was really excited for this. And then Mega Man Universe, I was a little turned off by the whole Ryu aspect of the game, but then I was like, you know what? It's Mega Man. I'll give it a chance. Let's do this. And then Keiji Inafune leaves Capcom, and then all this bad stuff starts happening, and he starts talking trash about the Japanese game industry, and then Mega Man games start getting canceled, but we get crappy Resident Evil games still, and crappy Street Fighter games versus Tekken, and I start feeling some sort of way. So I really think it's bad, and it sucks for Mega Man fans, because that's not a small crowd out there. There's still a huge fan base for Mega Man, I believe. So yeah.
What about you, Rita?
It's definitely unfortunate. I mean, I like my share of Mega Man games, and while I wasn't that keen on Mega Man Universe, I was definitely really looking forward to Mega Man Legends, and I was kind of surprised a little bit before when they had that trailer for it, and it was supposed to launch when the Nintendo eShop launched, and then it didn't, and it was like, where did it go? And people started worried then, but then it's just like, you know, even if Capcom didn't get all the numbers that they wanted for the people who were like on their own forums and trying to like do a bunch of stuff for the site, I mean, they really got a lot of fans involved, and I think it's just like, you know, a kick to the teeth that they canceled it at this point. It's just, I don't know, it just seems kind of like a jerky thing to do.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like my thing too. Like, they started having random like Mega Man Legends avatars on the PlayStation Network, and I was like, maybe we'll see a, you know, downloadable version of Mega Man Legends, and then we hear that's not going to happen. I actually popped the first game in like last year and was playing around with it. It's just really hard to get used to that control style now, but I don't know, I really enjoyed the Legends series just because it was so different from, you know, classic Mega Man. And plus the Mega Man games at that point in time, I think they were in the like X5, X6, or no? Yeah, X4, X5, X6, something like that. And you know, after X4 they just kind of came to get a bit of repetitive. So I was, you know, digging those. The second one especially, I remember that one as well, but I don't know, it's very weird, very strange. And like Noodles, I wasn't really digging the whole Mega Man Universe thing, but I was gonna check it out.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
I feel like he's a strong character, you know, he's still pretty big, Mega Man.
Yeah, I know, and that's my thing too. I don't know, you know, we don't know exactly why the game was canceled, but I don't know, it's very strange that we have been so long without a full Mega Man game in some shape, form, or fashion. Because we had the 2 downloadable titles, and that's been it. I can't think of what was out before that.
Some DS games, well,
yeah,
they
DS
featured
games.
Zero as the
right.
protagonist, but
Mega Man Zero game.
Even then, it's been a while since those games came out. I mean, the last handheld Mega Man was, I think, the weird sequel to Mega Man Battle Network. I mean, it's been a while since we...
Yeah.
It's been a few years since we got Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent.
And the collection, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, Mega Man Battle Network, those weren't even really Mega Man per se. They just kind of had his character. It was weird.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember playing one of them somewhere. It was odd. But I don't know. It's really strange to see Mega Man so absent compared to, you know, I mean, like they constantly had Mega Man X4, X5, X6, X7. I think they stopped on 7, and then they had that RPG on the GameCube.
Maybe Mega Man 10 was the last game that they released. So Mega Man 1.
Yeah, Mega Man 10 was the last, you know, one they released overall. But I'm talking about back, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then, you know, we had that RPG, like I said, and then we got, you know, 9 and 10 back, and that was awesome. I don't know, it's just so really odd now that I really stop and think about it, because I can't remember the last time since we've had, you know, a big Mega Man game and it's not been there. I mean...
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's like,
go ahead.
I mean, it's like Nintendo would be all out of nowhere, like, yeah, we're just gonna cancel, you know, Mario, Super Mario 3D, and Mario Party 10 or whatever.
Almost. I don't know if
I wouldn't say
that.
Mario. I would say something like a Metroid, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably a better guess than it. But that would be very odd. It's kind of like Nintendo's doing Star Fox now.
Yeah, true.
But I guess we'll have final thoughts and then we'll be done, and we'll send you on to the Dungeon Siege 3 review.
Point being said, Capcom needs to, you know, maybe they should try, like, you know, Nintendo needs to listen to Operation Rainfall fans. You know, Capcom shouldn't, you know, be so quick to dismiss Mega Man just because they don't think it's going to get the numbers it is.
Yeah, either that or give us, like, Mega Man Universe versus Street Fighter. You know, I would love to take some of the bosses and kick Ryu's ass. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just curious what direction we go next, but time will tell, and we'll be talking about it then, I'm sure. Thanks, guys, and now Dungeon Siege 3. Dungeon Siege 3 is a somewhat modernized version of the old-school loot RPG. The story of the game is told via book-like scenes and in-game cutscenes. Overall, they work well, and Dungeon Siege 3 has more story elements than a typical loot RPG. It's not the most inventive story ever, but as I said, it's more than you usually get for this type of game. The voiceover work is pretty solid. There are no standout performances, but all the lines are delivered well, and there's not a voice that's going to annoy you or feel totally out of place. Graphically, I don't have any problems with the game, but like the voice work, there is not really anything that stands out. The graphics get the job done, but nothing beyond that. The camera angles don't even really do a good job of showing off some of the details. There's some cool smaller details, but the camera's so far away that you normally cannot see them, like you can in this piece of video. I really wish there was a bit more freedom with the camera. The two angles you have to choose from, for the most part, are fine. But there are definitely times I would have preferred to have an angle that was closer to the ground. One area where I had issues with the camera was in local co-op. Player 1 has exclusive control of the camera. With a character like Reinhardt, that can be difficult as he has to move a cursor around the screen to target with his magical abilities. In online multiplayer, even though all characters have to stay on the same screen, they can each move their own view a bit to help when aiming attacks. We'll come back to multiplayer in just a bit. Gameplay has always been one of the most important aspects to me, and luckily for Dungeon Siege, this is where the game really shines. Each character has a distinct playstyle. Each character also has two different stances to use. One is for groups of enemies, and the other is generally focused on single enemies. Lucas is your typical tank, very little range, but he can dish out as well as take damage. Anjali can attack with her spear and switch to fire magic. Reinhardt is a mage and has an electrical spell for single enemies and a wide sweeping spell to hit hordes. Lastly, Katarina wields either a rifle for long-range single enemies or a shotgun and pistol for shorter range and mobs. Every character has different strengths with each stance. For example, Lucas' two-handed stance is for groups. It's slower, but it packs a punch, while Katarina's mob stance is weaker and quicker than her rifle stance for single enemies. Overall, this really changes how you play each character. If you go rushing with Reinhardt or Katarina, you're likely to die, while Lucas is meant to be at the front causing chaos. I, of course, wanted to be a tank and chose Lucas. But the important thing here is this is all a lot of fun. The battle system is relatively deep compared to some action games. X or A is for your basic attacks, while the other face buttons are for special attacks. The shoulder buttons are used to switch stances, block, dodge, and you can also empower special attacks and normal attacks, but generally I save the action spear necessary for a defensive ability. One of the things I saw some complaints about were the stats and the loot. While I'm not as experienced with loot games as others may be, I actually liked how it all worked. It may seem like there are a lot of stats, but the help menu you get after pressing start gives you a good idea how they all affect your character. The ones you really need to worry about at the beginning of the game at least are attack, will, defense, and agility. Beyond these, it really depends on how you build your character. For example, if you like doing more damage on critical hits, find weapons with the Doom statistic, and agility of course. Overall though, once you get a bit deeper into the game, it's usually pretty obvious where your best weapon's going to be, and it's not always the most expensive one. The level up system was another thing I liked. Aside from possibly unlocking a new ability, you have the opportunity to spend proficiency points. These allow you to add more effects to each ability. For example, Lucas can gain the ability to steal life from enemies after using his healing ability if you add a proficiency point in Live by the Sword. These proficiency points allow you to really cater the abilities to your playstyle. If you don't like a certain ability, you don't have to put points in it. Lastly, you'll get a talent point. This allows you to gain a miscellaneous bonus to different stats. Again, playstyle is going to determine what you want, but there are some obvious ones too. Another cool thing for me was the deed system. Depending on your choices, you can gain different deeds. These will give you a small, but permanent, stat increase. For example, if you turn down all the rewards in Raven's Rill, you'll gain a deed that gives you +5 to will. Different choices will give you different deeds. The multiplayer is a bit of a mixed bag. It can be very fun, but it also has some flaws. You and another player can play locally, or up to 3 more players can play online. You can also have a 2-player party join an online game. When people have microphones and actually communicate, it can be a lot of fun, if a bit chaotic. The difficulty seems to increase as more players join. Unfortunately, online all characters are stuck on the same screen, meaning if one player is too far back, it could impede your progress. Players will even be teleported to the host if he ventures too far from them. The other major drawback is that you are stuck using the host version of your character. Only one of each character is allowed, meaning if you join someone early in the game, they may have very little gear for the character you choose. Depending on the location, this can make the game very challenging. The ability to bring your character over to another person's game, even if they had to temporarily level it up or down, would be very nice. Any loot you get in an online game is the host's, not yours. And the host has to be wary of other players joining and simply selling all their stuff, or going into the inventory and transmuting it for gold. Which is allowed merely for convenience. You actually get a lot less gold from doing this compared to actually selling it to a merchant. It's basically the drop or trash button for items. The 3 difficulty levels can really make a difference, with hardcore making the game quite challenging. Adding this to the fact that the characters feel so different, there is some replay value here, if you like the other playable characters, of course. While it may sound like I've been a bit harsh, I must stress again, I've had a lot of fun with this game, and it can be very addicting. The first weekend I had it, I played it off and on for the entire weekend. To wrap this all up, overall Dungeon Siege 3 is a very fun game. With local and online co-op, playing with friends can lead to some great times. The game does have its drawbacks, but it is in no way perfect. But, with the fighting system being as good as it is, and the somewhat cool story, it's really difficult for me to be too hard on the game. While the camera can be a bit frustrating, and the multiplayer could be better, I still might find myself going back and playing and will continue to do so. The first playthrough on normal will probably last you 10 or 12 hours, and I expect it to be longer on hardcore. At the end of the day, the fun factor raises Dungeon Siege 3 to a solid B. And with that, this week's episode has come to an end. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them here, or you can email us ga@GamersArcadia.com. If you have some viewer mail or a topic you'd like to see discussed on the show, please let us know. And as always, constructive criticism is helpful. Hope you guys enjoyed.